presented by Dano's Seasoning. Yum yum, get you some.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Sunbelt Syndicate, as always, hosted by myself, Dominick TJ, and I still got it wrong.
We're at the end of the season, bro. You still haven't got your directional coordinates right.
I know. I was like, I got it wrong. But to the other side of me, because to me it's still going to be different than everyone else is saying, but is the other co-host, TJ Corman himself. We do expect a special guest to join us shortly. I know, TJ, you're pretty excited about that one tonight.
Oh, yeah. You know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
We should have next season when we do this, we should have, like, when we introduce ourselves, should have, like, the fake applause. Like, so we can, you know, because at this point, we've kind of become a big deal. So I feel like we deserve some applause when we come on. Just my thought. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't.
We could do it to each other, and then, you know.
Yeah, it could be like a silent clap for us, but then the audience needs to hear, like, an applause, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, because we're worth it, because we're working in conjunction with College Football Dogs. We're a part of the the Dogs Sports Media Network. And as you can see below, for those watching the live stream, we are sponsored by Dano's Seasoning, which TJ and I both use. I won't say on a daily basis, but pretty consistent. I would say, yeah, a few times a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you have not used Dano's Seasoning, they had a wide array of offerings. Definitely check them out. Use the promo code below at checkout to help us out. Get a little kickback. Maybe we get enough people to buy into the Dano's Seasoning. But TJ, other than getting all the bills covered here at the beginning of the show, I know that we want to talk about a little bit about the bowl record, obviously.
Sure.
When our special guest jumps on, we'll just jump right in with him. For those that may be joining us for the first time, I know I really push this hard to Texas State fans. I know they're excited about how their bowl went, excited what the expectations are going into next season, excited that some of their players are coming back. I know there are still some question marks. I think TJ Finley's kind of up in the air, at least from the sounds of it. So we'll a couple things to remain to be seen. But I myself did not play the game of football. Obviously, Mr. TJ Corman, just by looking at him, you can tell he did play the game of football.
Either that or eating a lot of pulled pork.
Also, the last couple episodes I've forgotten to touch on your T-shirt game. So great T-shirt tonight from the great movie Friday.
Yeah. I was hoping we'll have some millennials in here at some point that'll be getting it. Hopefully, some of my cousins will jump on, and some of my former teammates will jump on, and maybe they'll see the T-shirt. So, yeah, I do this for you guys. Actually, that's a lie. I do it for me. I like T-shirts. I enjoy T-shirts.
You do it to show all of us up. I tried to join it, with a cool T-shirt and also
nice. Yeah, I like it.
Sunbelt. The first ever Sunbelt championship game officially with App State and the Raging Cajuns. So, yeah, I don't wear it often because I like to keep it from getting gnarly in the graphic section.
Right.
But it's a little chillier today, so we went with the long sleeve. So I broke it out.
I was going to say you kicked the long sleeve out. Not a big deal. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, no, I like the look of this. It wasn't too much, and I had to commemorate the fact that it was in Boone for the first time too. So, got to go with that. TJ, we'll break it down by jumping into your clip breakdown, going over just a few clips from the Bulls. We had a lot of Bulls this past weekend I guess it was 2 weeks ago now for the Sun Belt. So we won't go through a clip from each one, but we'll go through some of the ones where Sun Belt were the victors. So we'll jump into that right after this.
Go!
All right. Now if I can get this up, share this tab instead, add it to the stage. Now, here we go. The first one is going to be from the Idaho Potato Bowl featuring Georgia State and Utah State. And this one's going to have Darren Granger going deep into the end zone. Really, TJ, there's nothing phenomenal about this play, and I have it in full screen. But really talking more about the past here from Granger on this one, because the breakdown in coverage is what you're going to see on the replay.
I was going to say, it looks like there's, and this is a play before,
yes.
but it looks like here the safety and corner, they don't communicate very well, because it looks like what's supposed to happen is the corner is expecting that too high safety look to come over the top and have help. So he's playing down. He's playing the flat area. And it just, I mean, like you said, a miscommunication in the defense. Excellent throw. I mean, he had all day to throw the ball, but he also didn't need all day, because you and I could have thrown that touchdown pass. I mean, that was pretty cut and dry. When the safety doesn't move over and you've got, your cover 2 corner letting them go scot-free down the sideline, pretty easy to see what's going on here. So, no, I mean, great play, though. And to me, it looks like almost he was lined up inside in the slot corner, or I guess nickel, or maybe outside linebacker, depending on what kind of coverage they were running. It looks like nickel or outside linebacker. Definitely some sort of zone. And I guess it is cover 3, but nobody's carrying. It just doesn't look good.
Right.
Like, none of this looks good.
What you get with a 6-6 team at this point, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, but at this point of the season, like, at least, if it may even have been cover 1 and maybe just that corner or slot corner or nickel, whatever he was, maybe he just didn't know that it was cover 1 and was expecting maybe cover 3. I don't know. I don't know what he was expecting here, but it was not good.
Yeah.
It was not good at all.
Mainly focusing on the throw for that one, because like you said, it's just a breakdown in coverage. Nothing phenomenal, but I thought that the throw over the top was pretty nicely placed.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one comes from the 68 Ventures Bowl, the weirdest bowl name, man. I like the ones where there's something fun with it. Mayo Bowl,
yeah,
Cheez-It
I don't
Bowl,
know what 68
Bowl.
Ventures means.
I don't either. Job not done by that bowl, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what, and I guess because I didn't watch it, I don't know what it represents, but watch it live anyway. I did go back and see some clippings, but didn't watch it live.
Yeah. This is more, I didn't give you much warning on this one, but this is more of the shovel pass thing.
Yeah, I always like those kinds of plays for a receiver, for a quarterback, especially because I played quarterback in high school, and it's nice to get you a good little forward pass in there that you have to work hard for. To get to kind of pile the stat sheet up a little bit. But these, I know Kansas City runs a lot of this when you fake that dive up the middle, and you've got your the guy you're circling, you've got a offset tight end to the opposite side of the formation, and it's really just a quick little over the head shovel. And actually, this play is a little bit more unique than what it typically looks like. Right? Normally, the shovel happens behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So pretty decent, pretty good play design. He definitely got the defensive end to, I think that was the defensive end to commit, with the threat of the run by the quarterback, but then nobody gets outside to check, because again, it is difficult when you've got a tight end motioning from, or not necessarily motioning, but having action across the back of the ends, or across the backfield. It's hard to see him through all that traffic. So good play design by Alabama or South Alabama. I don't know why I keep wanting to call it. I call them everything but South Alabama. I've called them Alabama State.
You do.
Alabama, which they are definitely not Alabama.
They actually won their bowl game. They actually won their bowl game.
Yeah. Alabama did not. That's another thing that pissed me off. I'm not even an Alabama fan. I'm an LSU fan. I don't even like Alabama. I just wanted the SEC to win, and I do not like Michigan. I don't hate Michigan. I just don't like them. Anyway, that's not part of this.
I was gonna, at some point in the show, I was gonna figure that might come up. I was gonna ask your thoughts, considering your history with Michigan, whether it was like, oh no, we like those guys because we beat them, so it's not bad, or if it's like, we still don't like them. We like to see them lose. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't hate them. Like I said, I don't have it. I do like Jim Harbaugh. I do like that. I do like him. Oh, khaki pants.
Okay.
For a lot of reasons.
I'm the opposite on that one. I don't care for him.
Yeah, most people, most college football purists don't like him, but if you're an NFL fan, you love him, which is what I am. So, because I think he's much more of an NFL coach than he is. He's he's grown to be gimmicky because he had to be for college football, but he's not a gimmicky coach. He's just like his brother. So, yeah. So I think he belongs in the NFL.
Yeah. TJ's coming up. That your twin
What's up,
TJ? Big TJ. No, TJ was doing some background work for us today, actually, making sure we were good to go with our special guest. So once he jumps on, we will add him to the screen. But what's going on, TJ? Thanks for your help earlier today. By the way, really appreciate that. Still waiting to hear back technically, but as long as this guest says he's good to go, we're going to take his word for it on there.
It's so funny hearing
protocol
as the guest or like in secret, because I know who it is, and it's so funny every time you say it. I want to correct you, like, "Hey, he has a name."
He does have a name.
Like,
he does have a name, but the whole cliffhanger is you got to figure out who it is. So
yeah, it's called a tease, and I've not been in TV long enough to be good at teasing, so I'll let you do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if what we do is considered TV, but
listen, you can watch it on television. So it was funny because my son actually thinks I'm on TV. Like he thinks whenever I say I'm about to go do the podcast, I'm about to be live, he thinks it's on TV because he can watch it because obviously there's all smart TVs now. So the last time he saw me do this was on the TV. And so to him, Daddy's on TV. So it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. To my son, I'm on TV. So we're on TV.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, I got an update. Here's why you don't share who's coming on the show, because he said he couldn't make it at a certain time. I'm checking just to make sure. Okay, he's not the same time zone we're in, so there was some confusion there, I guess.
Gotcha.
So we'll see. But I told him we go for about an hour mostly. So we'll see what comes of that. But that's why we don't push a specific name just yet, TJ. We're safe in there.
Right. We protect ourselves.
Yeah. And TJ saying our permission in the background is only a technicality. That's true. And it's a good thing with what's going on. Captain America is back. And
we're on TV. We're on TV. Yeah.
I will say this. I have watched a couple of the college football podcast shows on television through the YouTube app on my Roku. Phenomenal when you can watch stuff full screen, especially when you've got the graphics and the highlights going on. So, yeah, if you can.
Thanks for that his dad's not on TV.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good point. So, getting back to those highlights, this one's from the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl. Again, all these crazy bowl names. This one's coming from Ethan Vasco. Check out this throw to the back of the end zone, and Sam Pinckney's on the other end of this thing. To the right of your screen here.
Absolutely.
Check this out. One hand.
Yeah, I saw
One hand.
This was nuts.
Now, so, I do have a question for you once we see the slow-mo replay here in a second as well. And then we'll back it all the way out and redo it from full motion too. But yeah, I think that's his family they show there in that shot as well. I think I don't remember if that's what they mentioned on the broadcast or not, but yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is just let my guy make a play. My guy, he's bigger than you, he's stronger than you. It doesn't matter if he's faster than you because he's at the 8-yard line. So just go up, throw the ball up, make it. And two, there's a lot to be said from a receiver's perspective about ball placement here, because it matters that ball was where it was.
Right.
Because you can't, to a guy that's that big, I mean, what does he go? 6'3", 6'2.5", 6'3"?
Something, yeah, maybe roughly. Even 6'4".
Yeah, I mean, he's what, 205, 210. Anyway, it matters that the ball's not here, that he doesn't have to flip his hand, because hand placement matters, right?
Yeah.
If the ball's here, he's got to flip his hands, and then he's got to get his shoulders up, and his elbows have to come up. And it's a lot harder to make that catch and then grab it and go up. Now, Megatron was awesome at it. He did a lot of that. Des Bryant did a lot of it. He's not either of those guys. So ball placement matters. So when I'm able to go up and I can snatch it this way, right? Well, I guess you can't see my hands. When I can snatch it this way, it makes it a lot easier than having to flip my wrist or go over my shoulder and catch it. So, whenever I can get my body turned. So ball placement, I say all that to say, as easy as that throw is, it's just kind of a pitch and catch. It does matter about how that ball is thrown and what the placement level is.
Yes. Well, I say yes, like I know, but I
I was
feel
gonna
like
say
I
I
know
don't
when
know because I'm 5'8". Nobody ever threw me a jump ball.
Oh man. Well, I slowed this one down because I want to see your thoughts on this. Watch his left hand. I think it's his left hand that doesn't make the catch on the defender's face mask. I want to get your thoughts on this part.
Yeah.
When he goes up for the ball, right?
Right. I can tell you from experience, A, they probably didn't see that. B, they're not going to call that. They're
Don't
not
think
gonna,
so?
No, heck no. They're not calling, especially not in a bowl game. They're not calling that. Because number one, as a receiver, I'm using any leverage that I can get to get my hands on you to push my body up and push you back down. Right? I'm doing it whatever I can. And they know that. The refs, they know that. I mean, it's a hand fighting game. Part two is his body. He's a much bigger body than I am. His body is so big that when he grabbed the front of that face mask or the front of his helmet, the ref probably was in a position where he couldn't see through it.
Good point.
So, it was I watched that game, and there was a complaint during the game, and they talked about it. I'm like, listen, the ref can't see that, and if he could see it, it's not going to make that much of a difference for him to make that call.
I was going to say, watch the defender come. And again, I didn't referee the game of football. I refereed a different sport, but still a valid explanation is call what the game expects. Watch the defender. He kind of looks like, hey, is there a flag? But he doesn't go crazy because, like you said, he knows it ain't coming. Like, watch him here. He's like, he looks. He's like, is there a flag? And if they don't really go back to him, but you can see him. He doesn't lose his mind. He's not up in arms.
Yeah. He should have been irate in order to get that call. Because there is a chance that the ref saw it, and he's waiting on that guy's reaction to see whether or not he should throw it, depending on the level of how egregious it was. So there's times too that matters. So it shouldn't. There should be blatant objectivity throughout the entire game, but there's not. And that where these penalties are on the field and where it happens and how it happens, some of that matters too for you script writer conspiracy theorists out there.
Yes, there seems to be a growing number of, but
insane.
I think we found a nice segue because Artie is back. We love having Artie, number one fan. I think it's between him and Neil for number one fan, but I think Artie's been around a little longer.
I think Artie doesn't miss a beat, man. Artie's here.
No,
right? If we ever have questions about fan base and who watches us and who doesn't, Artie is that guy.
Right.
Assuming Artie's a guy. I guess I shouldn't assume
that. Yeah, we don't technically know. I'm sure he can let us know in the comments, or they could let us know in the comments. We'll go with that. Nondescript.
He, she, they. These days, you got to be politically correct. Otherwise,
you got cover the spectrum.
Yeah, you got to make sure. Respectfully, obviously.
Speaking of transitioning to all these things,
I thought you was about to say something else. Anyway,
pronouns included.
When you said speaking of trans, I was like, oh no, don't do it. They're gonna cancel.
Yeah. This ain't that kind of show. But I did get an update that our special guest will be joining us here towards the end of the hour. So
nice.
We'll be good to go here. Just a little later. Again, a little bit of a time zone mix up as far as this time here is about an hour difference from where he is at. But we do want to jump in, like I said, good transition with Artie being a Texas State fan, Texas State being in the Serve Pro First Responders Bowl down there in Dallas, Texas, where SMU usually plays their bowl games. Check this one out. As we discussed slightly before the show started, TJ.
Yeah.
You have to tell me what this is called again with the big man touchdown.
BMB, baby. Big man balling. Big
man ball. I love it. There's got to be a shirt somewhere for that, right?
So let me throw my disclaimers out. I don't want us or college football dogs or Danos or anybody to get sued. I did not make that up. Okay. Just so where Marcus Spears made that up on ESPN. I watch Get Up. I watch First Take every day. Marcus Spears is a defensive tackle, played for Dallas Cowboys, obviously. Back in mid 2000s, I think it was like 2012-ish, somewhere in there. And he coined the term big man balling. And so he has a segment weekly that he highlights big men doing things just like this, balling. So
yeah,
I'm happy to see it for sure.
Yeah. Nash is this guy's name. I'll let it go like kind of slow-mo one time because it's kind of a weird set. Like you can see Finley here going like, hey, hurry up. We want to get, because if you notice,
it was almost
clock,
like what you didn't want to have happen was a Detroit Lions situation where
yes.
And as a Cowboy fan, I'm appreciative of the trickery that they tried to do that didn't work.
Yeah. Gotta love that.
So I mean, behind the line of scrimmage, I guess this play technically wouldn't have classified as him having to report eligible because he threw it behind the line of scrimmage, and also it was a backwards lateral. It looked like anyway. Either way, I mean, great play design. He had blockers or a blocker out front, but didn't need it. And also, too, from the 6-yard line with a full head of steam, who is going to run out there and tackle him? Not me.
Exactly.
Not I, said to him. I'm not tackling him at all. He's going to have to score that touchdown, buddy.
Also, like, if you are going to tackle him, like, he's now got a head of steam. Like, now you don't get in the way.
That's my point. Like, bro, what is it? I mean, his thigh can give you a concussion.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
No. Yeah, he's not one that you want to mess with. Artie says, TJ, break down how concessions ran out of all beer and beverages by halftime.
I did not know that. I did not. And I watched this game. I did not know that now that is an issue. That is a problem. Yeah. That's something. I assume, Artie, you were there. God, running out of beer at halftime is insane. That's why you wear long socks and you put you some airplane bottles in your socks. That's what I do. Every App State football game, I put me some airplane bottles. I guess I shouldn't say that. There's probably some people looking. Guess what? It won't matter. I'll still do it.
Yeah, you can't stop me now.
Yeah, all I need is a Pepsi. All I'll need is a Pepsi, and I'll be fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, Captain America agrees. It is a party foul. That's
100%
absolutely correct. TJ's even jumping in saying Texas State drank the stadium dry. Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. Actually, Artie's got one more thing. Nash is a good person as well. Broke his leg earlier, so congrats to him. Yeah, you could tell there was a little bit more than just like, hey, big man scored a touchdown. They were going nuts over that. So that was, and Artie's confirming he was there.
Yeah, it was purple.
Yep. Best Texas State moment yet. I didn't have any doubts. Although it's kind of cool in a way. And TJ, you will know from experience exactly how this felt. It's not the exact same situation, but the same kind of, here, I'll just say what I'm talking about. You started the season with a monumental upset of Michigan in 2007. You ended the season with a national championship. Again, not to the same extent, but Texas State starts off the year with a massive win against in-state opponent Baylor, and they end the year with a bowl game in their state against an in-state foe.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to feel like just the highest of highs for Texas State and the Bobcats fan as they continue to kind of essentially turn everything around at that program. I mean,
the middle of the season obviously is not what you want to have happen, but the beginning and the end. So there's a lot to be said about the old adage is not how you start, is how you finish. Because in this instance, this finishing this way for Texas State is outstanding. I mean, and again, it was Rice. We get it. Rice is Rice. We understand. Doesn't matter, right? What matters is Texas football is important. And it's important to every university in Texas. I don't care if it's SMU, Texas State, Baylor, Texas A&M. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, football matters in the state of Texas, and football matters basically from the Mason-Dixon line on down, right? I mean, it matters. Football is a big deal, and so winning in the South is not the same as winning anywhere else, and especially winning in your home state. So hats off to Texas State and them being able to do it the way they did it in their state all year. They got my respect for sure. So, yeah, Artie, you guys absolutely outstanding job.
Yeah. And Marty is returning. That's absolutely correct. Wink, wink, hint, hint. That's all we'll say on that one.
Stick around, Artie.
Yeah, he's ruining the surprise. No, we'll see when that happens to tonight. But I mean, yeah, you said Rice is Rice, but at the same time, and Houston wasn't amazing, but Houston was a little bit better at the beginning of the season than they were later on,
Yeah,
and Rice did
absolutely.
beat them early on. So Rice had the capability. Rice was also not the same team when they lost JT 7-time transfer Daniels
yeah.
to career-ending.
Everybody's son Daniels. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's why we need restrictions on the portal.
Yes. Yeah. And sadly, what's disappointing is like now he's gone from college football for good because of his concussions.
And we won't even remember him. Like we won't even remember him because of how many different universities he played for. That's the one. Yeah. That's the other thing too. Is like you didn't stay long enough at any one location that you can be remembered for anything. Like Cam Newton only played a year at Auburn, but it was an outstanding year, right? And he had a lot of different things happen to him before that. So, it's a lot to be said about staying put. And like I don't remember Bo Nix at Auburn.
Nope,
I just don't.
Either. I mean, I know his. Yeah, we both know his name. But
like we know he played there.
I don't remember a single play. I don't. You're right.
I know nothing iconic that happened to him and quite frankly, I won't remember him at Oregon because they didn't do a whole lot. I mean, they beat Liberty. That's not saying a whole lot. They didn't have any signature wins this year. So, and I want to be respectful when I say what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you aren't good or that you're not going to go and play professional football and do well. That doesn't mean anything. Right. But your legacy, the legacy that you leave in college, some of that has to matter to you, right? Like at some point, it's got to be like, all right, I transferred once. I want to stay put here for the next couple of years and maybe plant some seeds and have my, I don't know, legacy live on. And maybe not everybody's a legacy player and not everybody's good enough to even have a legacy. I wasn't. I know, I was never the guy. I was just a guy on a very good football team. But when I go back to Appalachian State, there's people there that still remember my name and people there that still remember, the play at Michigan and a lot of the things I did, the catch at Kansas. Like there's things that still live on, right, that I did because I stayed long enough to have those memories last. So anyway, I'm rambling, but I say all that to say, we've got to do some different things about this portal.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. And if our special guest joins us later, maybe he'll touch on some of that as well. In the meantime, let's check out. How do you like this retro look? I found this like retro background. I was like, I like it. Let's go.
It looks like that. You seen that T-shirt? Probably not. It's a T-shirt that Kohl's has. It's a ramen noodle T-shirt.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I
outside of the blue line. Yeah, this what it looks like, the ramen noodle packaging.
I do love me some ramen noodles. And guess what? A little Dano's on top of ramen noodles adds to the flavor even more.
Excellent segue. With Dano's, you ought to be paying us, bro.
They really should. I mean,
show us the money.
Yeah. Show me the money. Artie likes it. He says it's a 70s vibe. I agree. Yeah. I had to delete some weird graphics that were also a part of this, but the consistency of the stripes pretty much stays throughout. Not a ton of slides here, right? We're just really kind of talking about how we stack up. I put in the graphics specifically, I was telling TJ this earlier, I didn't think enough to ask him enough ahead of time to make a separate graphic for what TJ ranked. But we'll just go through and kind of talk about it. So to explain it, I've put the games with the scores up just to kind of show a visual of why we ranked a little bit as well. The number with the red slash through it was what we started with. And then the New Year's balloon look number, I think that's what they're going for there with those bright, shiny numbers.
Birthday party balloon, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's what I re-ranked. So since Artie's number one fan, Artie is here, we'll start with the number one game. I think it was pretty much without question Texas State running over Rice with a sold out side of the stadium. They drank the damn beer dry. I mean, so,
Doesn't get more fun than that.
No. And then not only that, but a pretty close game at halftime, actually. So it's not like the final score was kind of a blowout that whole second half, right? But like up until half, it was back and forth, and it was kind of like, all right, this is fun to watch, right? And so not only was it fun to watch, but then, you know, the Sun Belt finally finished on a high note with Texas State ending up that game, you know, 45-21. You know, we see Marty get a bunch of yards, but really Jeter is the guy who carries the rock into the end zone. What did he do? 2 times or 3 times? I got to back out from this.
I believe it was twice.
3. He got the last touchdown too.
Yeah,
so
I'm looking at it right now. Got to get pulled up the stats. Yep, 3.
Yeah. So not a ton of yards for him because Marty outgained him with 122 total yards. But Jeter was the bowling ball near the end zone, which is funny because I'm the guy for College Football Dogs that wrote the pregame preview article. And of course, I talk about Marty. I talk about TJ Finley. I actually talk about, I think the linebacker is Holloway. Is it Holloway? I think that's his name. Actually, he's on the score sheet. Yeah, Holloway, because he had the pick 6. So I mentioned a lot of the key players. I'm like, man, that's looking great. And then Jeter comes in there and ruins my whole preview I write up because he scored 3 touchdowns. And I never mentioned his name, so I felt bad. But
listen, we'll take it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So just a phenomenal job there. So I'm ranking that one number 1. I don't know, TJ, if you agree, if you've got another one. I mean, obviously, as an app guy, I don't know if that one snuck into your top 1 or 2 there or not.
No, I had Texas State ranked 1 just because of the atmosphere and because of what it meant to Texas State as a program that's building. I had App State ranked 2. And the only reason I say 2 because of the win, right? Not necessarily the way we won was I mean, it was insane. 12 fumbles. I've never seen that happen. You know what I mean? I think 8 total turnovers. It was just ridiculous. I mean, if you like just sloppy, win by any means kind of games, that was a game for you. It was a fun game to watch because you never knew what was going to happen next. And there was at no point did you ever think this team's going to drive the ball from the 20 all the way down to the other end because it just couldn't happen. And then I think too, what was surprising for me, and maybe you'll think this too, is the way we were able to throw the ball, which wasn't a lot, right? I mean, I think he threw for 170-ish. Let me pull up. I don't want to lie to you guys.
Well, while you're here, go ahead and pull that up because Artie's going to touch back on that Rice game real quick.
211.
Oh, did he? Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's more than I thought too. So to touch on Artie's comment right here, Rice brought their 25-man marching band too. It was a home game in all but name. Great campus and stadium under renovation. I didn't realize they were under renovations and closing an end for suites, which is sorely needed because it's just an older stadium.
Right.
And from everything I was reading and taking in, they put more people into that stadium for that game than SMU did for any home game this year. So phenomenal job.
What was the total? Do we know the Artie? Do you know the maybe you're listening? Yeah. Do you know the total head count?
Well, ESPN's got it listed as 26,542. The capacity of the stadium is 32,000, which puts it at 83% capacity.
Jeez, that's awesome.
That's awesome. So Artie saying, Artie was pretty much spot on 26,200-ish.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So a little bit more than that. He's also saying it was a great fun pregame as well. Lots and lots of Bobcats all over Dallas, plus a great after party downtown area. Yeah, I don't doubt the after party was.
I don't doubt it either.
Fantastic.
Especially running out of beer. You probably had to go somewhere else to get some beer.
Yep. I'm thinking that that was a primary point of contention to get out of there. So you wrapped up your 2 with App State, right? So you said you had them 2. I had it 3. The only reason I knocked the App win is 1, I'm trying to stay a little bit more impartial.
You don't have to.
Well, I know. But 2 is not on either team or the way the game went. 2, the other reason I should say that I'm knocking it down just a notch is like the coverage made me like frustrated, man. Like we were talking about before, like, get the rain off the camera. I'm watching 7 NFL games a Sunday where it's raining sideways, but there's no rain on the cameras. But for whatever reason, this college football game had rain on cameras consistently and constantly. And it's like, guys, I can't even see what's happening here until you get like a wider shot and we can maybe take it in. So I knocked it to 3 for that reason.
That's
2,
fair.
I actually put the game that we had that clip from with Coastal Carolina beating San Jose State. And a couple reasons for this one being 2 for me. First of all, I didn't expect Coastal to win this game. And they were traveling all the way across the country.
Right.
They've got, Grayson McCall not playing. They're going up against Cordero, the quarterback for San Jose State, who's an outside, NFL pick. Not really a home game for San Jose State, but certainly a game that they can travel to a lot easier than Coastal Carolina.
3-hour flight is much easier than a 10-hour flight.
Yeah. And the way it ended, honestly, this 10-point victory, I mean, it felt closer than 10 points, right? I mean, I think you said you stayed up for that one or watched some of that one. Like it was close until that one-handed grab came late in the fourth quarter. I believe. They put another field goal down towards the end to kind of seal it up, but a close game. So it was close. We won. I didn't expect to win. So I moved this one way up from 9 to 2 because when I had it ranked 9, it was like not the most exciting matchup. Plus, I didn't expect to win it. So now that we've won it,
2, what time it was going to be played? A lot of people weren't going to be watching it, right? In Hawaii, at 10, what was it, a 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. kickoff?
Yep.
Like I was only up because I was already watching other games.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And also it was Saturday. So
yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah. It wasn't a weekday like some of these other ones. Although luckily for the weekday, they haven't put us too late at night. Already saying rain and uniform combinations were confusing in 2 Sunbelt games, especially the uniforms. Yeah, the Lafayette thing, I think we touched on this too, and maybe it was Artie who brought it up too. Like, I'm pretty sure Jacksonville State and Louisiana both have like an all black or some black, and instead they allowed both teams to wear some weird combination of red and whites, like
which was crazy. Like one was all red, the other one was white pants and red tops, and I'm like,
yeah,
what were you thinking about? Or no, red pants and white tops. Sorry.
Right.
And I was like, what, like, why would you make this game look like this?
Yeah. Yeah. It actually, we'll go back. I think I got to go back on this one for that. Yeah. Cause I had that one as my 3rd ranked game going into the bowl games. I think you had that one pretty high too. And look, I mean, it ends 3-point game in overtime. So for an outside fan, maybe it still stays real high. I dropped it quite a bit because I expected Louisiana to win. And I thought Louisiana would move the ball a little bit better against Jacksonville State's defense, and they didn't. So that's where it got the knock for me. Like, I'm not only grading like just the watchability, I'm also grading a little bit on like what I expected versus what I saw.
Versus what happened.
Yeah. So for that reason, this one drops for me. And I don't know if you had it kind of dropping as far, or like I said, it's a 3-point game. It was pretty exciting. It just sucks that they dropped it and, didn't go the way we expected or wanted to in that one. But
yeah, I mean, I think I still had it kind of middle of the pack. I thought it would be better than it was. I guess my final ranking of it was middle of the pack. I had it closer up to like top 2 or 3. Just because here at home, those kinds of things. I don't know. And I thought Troy too would, quite honestly, I thought Troy would run away with this game. And I was very wrong and very surprised by the lack of offensive effort that Troy gave, especially in that first half. It was just not good at all. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it just wasn't. It wasn't what I had hoped, especially from a Troy team who played as well as they did to end the season, in the regular season.
Yeah, exactly. And in that Sun Belt championship game, they played phenomenal even against App. Because, I mean, I don't think App had their worst game. They definitely did not have their best game.
No.
Troy, once they put the hammer down and the foot to the gas, they didn't let up.
It was obvious. It was obvious that Troy was the best team in the conference. Like they made it blatantly clear. Outside of JMU, which, given the way JMU performed against Air Force, I don't know that they and two, a lot of that coaches transferring. I think they had a running back and a receiver that didn't start or that didn't play because they were transferring. So there's a lot of mixed emotions. I mean, it's kind of like that Florida State game, not to be throwing other conferences in here, but that was deplorable. Florida State, I don't know, in my opinion, should be reprimanded for what they did. I mean, 15 starters. that didn't show up to play. I think over 20 people didn't play, period. And 15 of them were starters on both sides. But I think that's classless, and that's shoving sort of a finger in the eyeball of the NCAA just because they didn't get ranked in the top 4, which they shouldn't have. Because Jordan Travis, come on, man. Like, let's be honest. You're not the same team without Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
Like, the team without Jordan Travis barely beat a 17th, I think it was 17th ranked Louisville team. And up until the fourth quarter, really got zero offense going against Louisville. So, they didn't deserve to be there. Everybody knew they, and I think really they weren't better than Georgia. They were ranked higher than Georgia, but I think at that point it didn't matter because if you flipped them, they would still play each other anyway. So it wouldn't have mattered. It's just nobody wanted to see a Michigan versus Florida State and just get the brakes built. Anyway, that's way off topic, but part of I say all that to say James Madison had a bit of that in their game against Air Force. It's easy to kind of quit and give up and not really play when you've got, especially your head coach who you know is not going to be there, and then you've got some main guys not playing.
Yeah, I agree with some of that, and then I also think that I don't know if a lot of people know this. They brought in like a bunch of coaches, even kind of just temporarily, because it was an interim staff, I guess, at that point, right? Because Chesney, I think Chesney, the Holy Cross coach, he hadn't been brought in yet. So they brought in a bunch of coaches with triple option experience in order to defend Air Force's offense, right? What they run, they don't see a lot of that in the Sun Belt anymore. In fact, with Georgia Southern not running it, they technically don't ever see it. Not a true triple option team, anyways. And so that was part of my knocking them from 6 to 11 is like this score actually looks closer to me than that game felt. I never once we saw the first 2 or 3 drives from Air Force, I was like, there's no way unless they fall apart. James Madison's not coming back in this game. We talked about James Madison's defense being what dominated. That was not the case. And we knew, and we had spoken about the fact that their offense wasn't quite at that elite level. They weren't beating people 63-10. I mean, they were beating people, 17-3. So they were keeping them off the scoreboard, but they weren't lighting up the scoreboard. Maybe a few, lesser opponents early in the season, but everybody else, they didn't hammer people by 30 plus points very often. So I knocked them even more so because they literally got prepared specifically for this offense and then let them just run wild.
Yeah, it was. I think didn't they have 2 running backs over 100 yards?
Yeah, and that one guy was over 200 himself, wasn't he?
One was over 200. I think they ended up with almost 400 rushing yards total.
Yeah, I think it was 380 or something crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's just insanity. Yeah, the guy went for 203 and 2 touchdowns, Michelle.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. That's inexcusable. That's inexcusable.
Yeah.
And I don't care how often even back when Georgia Southern was at the height of their triple option, they never ran for more than 200 against us. Yeah.
Which is still a lot. And it always feels like a lot.
Maybe 250 or something like that, but that was only because the other 50 might have been in terms of total yards, like a random pop pass play that they ran maybe 3 times a game.
Yeah.
Apart from that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But Captain America came in and said, Tulane stole Troy's head coach. Yeah. And Indiana stole James Madison. So that's the thing that people have been pointing out, and I think is accurate, and you just kind of covered as well, is these teams are not the same as they were in the regular season. To judge them all on the same spectrum isn't fair at all. I mean, even App State beating Miami. Miami's on their 3rd string quarterback who threw 4 passes all season. So that's not fair either, because that's a conference champion who's coming in without their quarterback that got them there. It's not the same.
It offers to, you get a lot of these coaches that are complaining about kids not wanting to play and transfer portal and this, that, and the third. But also, too, when you get Tulane, like Captain America just said, Tulane's still in, JMU's coach, and these coaches, making moves like this, it adds to the point that kids should be able to move. And you and I spoke about this probably, 3rd or 4th game into the season, what we thought about the transfer portal and why we think it should be, why it's a good thing and why it should happen. It obviously should have, kids should have the ability to move and change schools if they want to. there should be some regulations behind it in terms of how often they get to do it, because you can't just change school just because things aren't going your way. That said, if a coach can get offered, and you got to know too, that if right after the season, the next week a coach takes a job at Tulane, they've had these conversations before. Like this didn't just happen. They didn't talk on Tuesday and sign a contract on Saturday.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that didn't just happen. So these kids aren't stupid. They know that you've been plotting this all year. So it's hard to look at a kid and say, you can't go to this school, or I'm talking down on you because you're going to this school, but your coach just left to go coach another program that recruited you. You know what I mean? Like that's hard to look at a kid and say that. So
yeah, no, absolutely it is. And speaking of the disappointing stuff, Artie says ODU was the most disappointing loss. I'd have to agree.
Yes.
I didn't punish them towards the total bottom because they still had a 3-point game that went to overtime. But 28,
but the way they lost.
Yeah, 28-0. 28-0 before the half. Obviously, Western Kentucky got one there before halftime. I think it was like literally the last drive of the half to kind of cut it, which crazy to think about if somehow they could have come up with just allowing them to have a field goal instead. Hey, they might still win this game.
Yeah.
So, it all important points, and that they still went into halftime feeling good, feeling happy about where they were at. Obviously, game ain't over, and Western Kentucky came. I mean, Western Kentucky, unlike maybe like James Madison and some of the other teams in our conference specifically, they run that air raid. Maybe Georgia Southern could do what they've done, which is like kind of just get hot because they were cold. And part of it was the quarterback that they had started versus the one who came in. Because the backup, as you would call him, I guess technically for that game, was actually the better quarterback. No
doubt.
Yeah, what is Houston? Is that his name, or is that the guy from Miami that came in? I can't even remember. Veltkamp, that's it. Who?
Yeah. It was funny.
Is transferring out.
Yeah, imagine that. It was funny because you texted me. I was sitting at my desk at work. And you texted me, it was like, look at, are you seeing what Old Dominion's doing? I'm like, no, I hadn't seen. And at that time, it was like 14-0. You texted me. And so I put the game on while I'm at work. I'm watching it, on my tablet, and I got my computer screen, and my boss walks in. He's like, what's going on? I was like, it's bowl season, whatever, because he watches the pod. He's seen the podcast a couple times too. And, it's like, whatever, let me watch the game. And then I get, I turn it, I'm like, there's no way they're coming back. I get home, and it's overtime. And my wife's like, are you seeing this? And I'm like, I am now. I'm watching it now, just like you're watching it. She's like, yeah, but it was like 28-0 or 21-0 or something in the first quarter. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't know what happened. So.
Yeah, I don't quite know what happened either because, like you said, we're both watching it.
Is what happened.
Yeah. But we're both watching it at work, and we both had to leave to come home. So I missed. Yeah. I think it was getting closer by the time I left, but it wasn't over.
Yeah, I missed the whole fourth quarter because I was driving home from.
I was going to say, yes, I think I was close. I don't think I missed the whole thing, but it takes me 15, 20 minutes depending on traffic to get home. So I missed a good portion of the fourth quarter. I got home, I think, to at least see their last touchdown to tie it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, absolutely incredibly disappointing because, I mean, you see ODU fans in the audience or the stadium or whatever you want to say on TV, just party, cheers,
I mean, and then when I left work, I was under the impression, because like I said, I left work midway through the third quarter. I think it was 35-14 or something like that when I left work, or something close to that. Yeah. And so I'm driving home thinking, I don't even need to have the game on or listen to it in the car because this is over. I get home and my wife's like, overtime just started. I'm like, overtime? She's like, yeah. Have you not been looking? I'm like, yeah, but I was driving home. Like, what the hell did I miss?
Yeah.
But apparently I missed a lot.
She said overtime, and you said, in what game?
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah, and Captain is saying that is telling Artie Cat, Western Kentucky is Sunbelt traders. Yeah, I mean, they left for the the bigger and brighter lights, and now they're in Conference USA. So enjoy that because
is it brighter lights now though?
It ain't. Nope. It is not. I think we covered everything on this page. Maybe, just to touch back on the Duke-Troy thing. I agree with you. I actually thought Troy would win this. Maybe not real handily, but I think both of us said we thought it wouldn't be surprising to see Troy win this game by 10 plus points because
I was going to say, I said 10 plus.
Okay.
Yeah, I said 10 plus points is what Troy would win by based on how Duke ended the season. The way they started the season was great. I mean, obviously beating Clemson, and then, I think they went on after beating Clemson, they won like 4 games in a row. So like they won their first 5 games. And then everything started going downhill for I think it was after they lost to, I can't remember what that first loss was, but then they lost like 3 in a row, then won 2, then lost 2 more. It started being like a roller coaster for Duke. But towards the end of the season. So
yeah. But like you said, I mean, started hot. And again, that's another team, as we mentioned, with like a quarterback who's now gone, not the same. But I mean, also, like you said, impressive. I mean, they looked pretty good in that bowl game. It was definitely far and away from Troy's best game. So there's that. But a lot of that has to do with what Duke was able to do defensively to disrupt them offensively. So, yeah, just a disappointing end there in that one. Another one that, I had 7 going in was Arkansas State and Northern Illinois, which, yet again, close game, back and forth. The problem, I guess, I had with it was it kind of got a little dull in that second half.
I was going to say it got dry in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, the first half was awesome. I mean, I can't remember which game. There was 2 Sun Belt games on at least, maybe more. Oh, that was okay. So JMU and Air Force this game, and I believe it was Troy and Duke, all kind of not. I don't think all of them started at the same time.
But they stacked. Yeah, they stacked each other up. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I actually was tuning into this one quite a bit because of how fast they were all scoring there. And then the second half, I'm just like, all right, I'm checking the score to see if I need to jump back, and I'm like, there's nothing happening in this game.
Yeah, it got real dry real quick.
Yeah, and then also, of course, Arkansas State loses. I'm not going to say they blow it because, again, 2 6-6 teams coming in. I don't know what major thing we would have expected to come out of that. So that's why it dropped from 7
Neither
to 9.
team is like a dog in either direction. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Artie says that telling Captain America right back. I bet they're enjoying it. Junior Conference USA. Oh, man. Makes me want Carl's Jr. or Hardee's as we know it out here, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Carl's
man.
Jr.
But,
yeah. Nice burger.
They have a what?
They got a nice Frisco burger. I know about burgers, man. I know about burgers at a lot of different places. That's one thing about me. I'm going to eat a burger.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm a burger guy for sure, too. That's why hey, no free ads, so I'm not going to talk about who I like from my burgers. But I'm a burger fan. I'll say that. Yeah. I'll say that. Jacksonville State is Troy's old D2 rival, and I'm not a fan of the Conference USA. Yeah, I don't think anybody here right now is a fan of Conference USA. And I'll go a step further. I know they're not mentioned in here, but I want to let you know how maybe disappointed, but also hilarious it is to see Liberty go down in flames. Pun totally intended there. They talked a lot of garbage for being undefeated, which, hey, that's not easy to do. I don't care what your schedule is.
You got to go do it. You got to go do it. So that's part of it.
Yeah, full credit there. I don't care what your schedule. I know some people say, well, your schedule sucked and undefeated means nothing. No, I don't agree with that one. I'll say going undefeated, no matter who you are and what conference, is hard to do.
I was going to say football is a hard sport. So not losing a game is very hard. I mean, we were very good the year we beat Michigan, and we still lost to Wofford. So going undefeated is very hard. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, you lost 2 games. Both those triple option offenses tripped you up.
Wofford and Georgia Southern.
That's why and I'm sure you'd agree with this, it's hard to beat the people you see all the time who can scheme for you better than out-of-conference opponents, right? Like, they know you better. So,
absolutely.
And the other aspect of that is staying healthy. That's not easy to do anymore these days with the size of these guys on the field and just the wear and tear of what, field turf becoming an issue again, where, it's a conversation of natural grass versus field turf and what's better for knees and joints and getting stuck into the turf. Did you guys have any of that? I mean, was that even a thought when you played up at App? Because obviously they really can't afford to have natural grass up there because of the weather.
No, natural grass would be terrible up there. But no, it wasn't. We didn't really the field turf wasn't really ever an issue for us. Other than like getting tackled face first and then the pebbles jumping up in your eyes. That sucked because I wear contacts, and so like if one pebble got in my eye, I had to change contacts. But apart from that, no, it wasn't. I mean, now before that they had AstroTurf, and so they had a lot of like torn ACLs and things, which is what actually made them switch to the pebble. What is the pebble turf? Is that field turf? What is that?
I think that's a field turf. Yeah, I believe so.
So, but I will tell you this: when it was cold, those black pebbles froze, and it hurt to fall down.
Yeah,
it absolutely sucked. It was like I'd almost want to run out of bounds because I'm like, bro, I don't want to. This is the worst. Like it was to a point we were so cold at practice, we didn't tackle for that reason. Like we didn't want anybody hitting the ground.
Yeah, because and all these pampered guys now who have the indoor practice facility, that was not something you guys had.
We didn't get indoor until my senior year. My senior year we had indoor.
Oh, you could. Okay, I didn't know you had it while you were there. I thought you just missed it.
No, Tommy Sofield's dad sponsored the building of our indoor facility, right beside the. You know where it is, beside the softball field. Well, the old softball field. I don't know where the new one is going to be.
It's at the 105 extension complex where that track is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had it my senior year, and I was like, "Oh, this would have been nice to have all 4 years, but whatever."
Yeah.
Still cold in there, but just not like. It was crazy.
Yeah, you don't need to heat it. Just say you have where you don't have to get wet and cold, or as cold, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you put 100 bodies in there, it probably warms up decent. When you're out there. But yeah, already saying way to crap the bed, Marshall, and let Deadbirds get that first bowl win, beat UTSA. Yeah. So that surprised me. Did you realize that Jeff Traylor, head coach of UTSA, has been great. They've been dominant the last couple years with Conference USA, great offense paired with a pretty consistent defense. And the guy had never won a bowl game before. I didn't realize
know that either until I'd heard them say it. And I was like, that's strange. I mean, I guess it's not strange. I mean, there's probably a lot of coaches that never won a bowl game, but it just seemed odd.
Yeah. But
if you played a number of games, I'm sure there's a lot of coaches that haven't won a bowl game, but still, it just seems weird.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing. Like if you're a 500 coach, like that wouldn't be that weird. But the fact that he's been so successful, he's talking about, some P5 jobs in his future. Or offers or whatever, and then you're like, oh, he's never won a bowl game. Like I didn't realize that. So yeah, it was very, very surprising there. And Artie's talking Liberty crashed and burned, and now we don't have to suffer their fans any longer. Yes, thank goodness Sunbelt didn't extend the invite.
And Artie, you can speak to this too a little bit, and I guess everybody. I don't know if I'm throwing a question out, but I guess this is open for everybody to comment on. Do you think that they actually thought they had a chance against Oregon, or like what? And I guess this is me to you, Nick. Going into this game, if you're Liberty, and again, I get it. Having played for underdog, beating a team that was very good, you only give yourself a chance. Like you're the only one that's ever going to give yourself a chance. But realistically, like I knew when we played LSU, like I knew, bro. Like come on, we're about to get our asses kicked. Like LSU is going to beat us. We knew that. But against Michigan, because we knew the scouting report and we knew how they played, we knew from an X's and O's standpoint that we stood a chance because they were bigger, but we were way faster than they were. And we could out-scheme them based on how they played because their defense, when Michigan played us, they played a lot of man coverage. And so we ran a lot of pick routes and things like that. Anyway, I say all that to say, do you think Liberty actually thought that they had a chance against, or because I never thought for a second that they stood a chance, and I know you didn't.
No, and I'll let anybody who's watching chime in, especially Artie and Captain America, who we're going to get to your question there because that's a fun one that we definitely need to cover, and TJ will probably expand on that too, because I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say on that one. But yeah, no, I never expected them to fully compete. However, turned on the game and they come down and score real quick, and I'm like, oh, now we all know football's a long game, so I knew not to get too like worked up over it. But I was surprised, and even the second drive where they didn't score anything, but they looked pretty good, I think, even in their second drive with the ball, if I remember correctly.
First two drives, I was both surprised and impressed, but then after that, I was like, "This is going to be a tale of the tape." I mean, this is a war of attrition. Football is a war of attrition. Like, it's how long can you do this one thing before the other team is like, okay, enough, right?
Yep, yeah. And TJ's also agreeing with other TJ. After that first score by Liberty, I bet they thought they had a chance, and then it was back to life and back to reality. Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, it was exactly how I thought the game would go after the first, series or two. Like we said, Liberty actually looked decent there at the very start of the game, but it was one of those. It's hard to say this because it's a G5 and not FCS, but it felt like that type of a game, right? The depth was going to play a massive advantage to Oregon in this game. We always knew that. Liberty did not have 2 and 3 guys at every position that could come in there and make the play. They just don't. I mean, most G5s don't, but Liberty, who had a weak schedule overall, was never battle tested. I mean, literally off the top of my head, I don't know who they beat that like absolutely. I mean, I guess you could say their championship game was the most impressive because New Mexico State had beaten Auburn, who wasn't good this year. So I mean, I don't know how.
I was going to say how impressive is beating Auburn, but
right.
Yeah, so, if I'm Oregon, I'm almost pissed off if I'm Oregon that you made us play them.
Well,
because sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but having Oregon play Liberty does nothing for Oregon next year for preseason rankings. Does absolutely zero for them. I mean, even beating them 45-6, because then it's like we expected you, like we saw you beat Colorado 100-0. We saw you beat USC. We saw you, beat all these teams that you beat, even though you lost to Washington twice. Where Washington is in, basically about to be a national, or I hope a national champion.
Yeah.
So, this did nothing for them for next year.
Yeah.
So they'll come in the season ranked essentially where they are right now.
Yeah, I agree. They're probably not going to be any better ranked. But your exact point may be why Liberty started off the way they did, right? Like, yeah, we're getting hyped, but we're not as hyped as they are. We're going to weather the storm because we know we're better, right? Like, they didn't panic. They just like, all right, yeah, I mean, they scored, but that's not going to last. And that's why, sure, they got punched in the mouth a little bit on like I wouldn't call it a sucker punch because it's well, we'll get to the sucker punch later. That's what Captain America was talking about. But it wasn't quite something they didn't see coming, I bet, right? Like, Oregon knew they were going to get the best look from Liberty right out of the gate, right off the bat. That was what was going to happen. And so it just, as long as they could weather it, which again, they did phenomenally, and they just put it away quick after that. I just never really in question. But yeah, I mean, an impressive start for Liberty. So, hey, you want a little pat on the back. There it is. That's all I'm going to give. You scored first, and then you missed the extra point. So it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it's like, how much do I really want to, and missing an extra point in college is not the same as missing an extra point in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's 3 yards, bro. Kick the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. And already saying exactly, TJ, I bet they're pissed off playing Junior Conference USA champion. We're the Big Ten, baby.
Yeah, it's seriously though. Like, I mean, as much as it is a joke, like that is a joke. If I'm Oregon and I'm Bo Nix, I'm like, this is the game because you got to think too now. For those guys who are seniors and pro prospects and all of that stuff that they're playing, right? This is the last chance that they get to say, all right, guys, look at me. This is what I can do, for your football team in the NFL. A guy like Bo Nix, who I don't think is going to have a super illustrious career in the NFL, but he gets nothing from, like, the NFL looks at this and they're going to be like, okay, like what? I mean, he threw for 363 yards and 5 touchdowns. You're supposed to. That doesn't impress me. Like you're supposed like Michael Penix threw for almost 500 yards and 2 touchdowns. In the semifinals.
Yeah,
that's way more impressive.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're graded on in the NFL. The biggest moments. This isn't a big moment. Like if I'm a defensive end or offensive guard or whatever it is, trying to make my spot in the NFL, this is not the tape that I want, the Dallas Cowboys to see.
Right.
Because this doesn't matter.
No, they're not watching the tape from this game. You're right. They're just going to throw this one out. I mean,
right.
But the other part of that was like coming in a sense, somewhat similar to Oregon or even Washington on a smaller scale, is like the offense was what won Liberty games. The defense wasn't phenomenal by any means. And again, you're talking about a defense that wasn't really all that impressive against the literal weakest schedule in the country at the regular season's end, or even I think that even included the championship game. If not, regardless, it's still within their same conference. They already played. I think they'd already played New Mexico State. Conference USA is so small. I think they all play each other, which is another reason why we're calling it junior.
Right. And then don't they have like, what is it, 10 teams, 8 teams?
I think they might have 8 to 10 at most, maybe 9 or something like that. But already saying scouts fell asleep in that film room.
Scouts weren't at that game, Artie.
Scouts
didn't have their TVs on during that game.
They sent Connor Stallions to just get a couple clips and then send it over in a video file. So we'll get to Captain America's comment. Did y'all see the Eastern Michigan and South Alabama fight?
Bro,
I saw the sucker punch, and then I saw that guy get it handed to him. So I don't know if I'd even call it a fight, but
it wasn't a fight. It wasn't a fight. Like you punched somebody and then you got the hell beat out of you.
Yeah. So tell me, TJ, have you ever in your life at any level of football seen something, whether it was you in person or just elsewhere? I've never seen, I guess I've seen something somewhat similar in some other respects, but definitely not at a football, capacity. I've definitely never seen something like that.
So I did see it in college. Not me. This was, God, I'm trying to remember how far back. Or it was Oregon. And what's his name? What's the running back name from Oregon? He played for the
LeGarrette Blount.
LeGarrette Blount, the LeGarrette Blount punch. Remember that? He almost knocked that guy's face off.
Almost at the same time you were saying it.
Yep. That was the last time I saw something like this. But LeGarrette Blount didn't lose after. It was like he stood his ground. He pushed a couple people that game.
Yeah, that's true.
He pushed a couple people. But that was – listen, there's a time and a place for things, and I never condone fighting unless you absolutely have to. That's a stupid – losing a game and being that upset about it, that's a stupid reason to fight somebody. And we played against a bunch of teams who purposefully did things to us after the plays to make us fight. And there was times that I drew back and I wanted to – but I'm like, is it worth it? Like, think about it long term. So I don't know. And I guess it's easier to not care after a game when there's no other games left that you can get suspended for. So I don't know. I don't, outside of the LeGarrette Blount punch, I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I actually had forgotten about that, but now that you say it, it does instantly come back in my mind for that one.
Yeah, that was insane. That was nuts.
I guess just like they're both talking about FIU versus Miami game. Only the FIU versus Miami game.
I didn't see that one. Now I got it. Now you're making me go YouTube stuff.
Yeah. Well, while we do that, our special guest is getting ready in the background, so we'll add him. We'll take this away from the screen here. Remove. There we go. As we both produce and run everything as we go here.
Right.
So, all right, and we got the Big Ten backers jumping on.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at this fight. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. What's up, Ismail? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Nice. We appreciate you jumping on with us tonight.
I'm doing all right. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah,
Real
man.
good. So,
Yeah, just in the car. Don't mind the car. I'm in the car right now.
okay.
Heading over here. I'm heading over to Dallas. I was in Plano. Heading over to Dallas right now. So.
Nice.
Are you driving? Listen, don't be
I'm not
driving.
driving. No, I'm not driving. I'm not. I'm on the passenger seat. Definitely not. I
Okay, I was
definitely
going to
won't
say,
be
bro, listen, pull over or do something else. We're not that
Oh no,
important.
no.
That you need-
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, I'm not driving.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for joining us,
Oh,
man.
man.
We certainly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so tell us, I mean, first bowl game in school history, obviously first bowl win as well, with what is essentially a home game with how many fans y'all brought, and drank the stadium dry too. I'm sure you've heard that from your fan base.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, just
Yes, sir.
I mean, just take us to as much as you can through, like, did it feel different? I mean, obviously it's a bowl game, so it feels a little different, but experience-wise, like, compare it to a home game and how it felt going in there with everybody you had in the building that night.
Yes, sir. It felt totally different. Just the atmosphere of being away from home, but not really away from home, and the aspect. Then having all those fans just coming to the game was pretty crazy. Just it's a crazy feeling having all those fans, just knowing that you have all that support. Coming and driving over just to come watch us play. It just felt real great just having that. So it was a good experience, you know.
Awesome, man. Well, I don't know how well you can see because you're on a phone, but our number one fan, as we were discussing earlier, a guy goes by the name Artie Cat on YouTube, is a little surprised that you're on the stream tonight because we kept teasing a special guest and we didn't give it away just yet.
You're a big deal, bro.
Yeah,
yes,
he's a big
sir.
deal, and he's a big fan. So we showed the clip earlier from the breakdown that TJ talks about on our shows of Nash scoring the big
Nash
touchdown.
Jones.
What did that mean to you guys? Yeah, what did that mean to you guys when he gets in there? Because Artie let us know he had like broken his leg earlier, which I didn't know. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, man, great. It was awesome that Nash was able to get that touchdown because he went through a lot this season. You know, he hurt his ankle second game of the year, and he went through a lot just for him to get that touchdown and just feel that moment and just to get all that excitement, all his players and coaches around him, just to get that touchdown was a cool moment for Nash and our team as well. So it was pretty cool because he went through a lot this season, and it's just real good that he was able to do that in the last game of the season. So. Finish out the right way.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
And that's
TJ,
that's a play.
Oh, go ahead.
That's a play we've been working on since we got there, since spring ball. So it was cool that we were able to use that before the season ended as well to get Nash that touchdown. We've been practicing that all since spring ball, literally. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool to get that play off.
Nah, having played ball before, I know what it's like when your big guys score touchdowns. It's good that the morale for the whole team
Exactly.
is awesome, man. Yeah, no, I get it. So I know a lot of us, we watched TJ Finley all year, right? We talked about how great he was and how good of a quarterback he was. Tell us, in your words, how instrumental he was to you guys' success and what kind of a quarterback he was, both on the field and then also, if you don't mind, talking to us about how he was off the field and what kind of teammate he was.
Yeah, TJ is a great leader, great individual, great human being. TJ just got all the tools of a quarterback and as a leader. He just on the field, he knows everything. He knows all his assignment. He's a veteran. He played at Auburn. He played at LSU. He played at the highest levels against the highest teams. So he's seen it all. He's done it all. And just being next to him as a running back, he points out everything and lets me know what's going on the field as well. And he's just a great human being, great leader. He just makes sure that all his players are in check and just make sure everybody is doing the right thing at all times. So he's a great individual, and he's a big part of the Texas State and our success this year. So props to the guy.
Sweet. I know, Dominic, you got some other questions, but I wanted to hit you with this. I played in a couple big games when I was at App State. I know our history with having played and beat Michigan, all that kind of stuff. You guys also had a very big win against Baylor. Talk to me about what that felt like, what the bus ride. Because listen, I can tell you firsthand that plane ride home and that bus ride home, it hits way different when you beat a team like that. So tell me what that felt like for you guys, getting back to the stadium, the fan base. What was that like for Texas State?
Oh man, it was a surreal moment just to able to do that with the new group of guys. And after the game, it was just like, I mean, we expected it because all fall camp we knew what this team was about. Since we put on those pads, we knew what this team was about, and we expected it. But it was just like in the moment thing, like, dang, we really just did that in front of all those fans at their home stadium. It was just like we're looking at each other like. But in the back of our heads, we knew we expected that going into the game. We was our mindset was we had nothing to lose. We got no pressure on. Just go out there, have fun, and just be football players. No pressure. We knew. Man, y'all got no pressure to play free in the offensive corner, and it was like I'm just going to go out there and just draw plays. Like I'm gonna play free. So like just going out there and just playing loose was a big part of us winning that game. And yeah, just we expected it, but it was a surreal moment. So it was exciting.
At what point during the game, because like I said, I know when we played against Michigan, obviously we come out, they score immediately, we come back, score, they score, and we score. And then it's almost like we could, we feel like we can play with these guys. Like they're not as good as we think they are. Everybody else thinks they are. At what point during the game was it like, oh, we got them? Like we know we could do. Like when did you feel like, okay, this is our moment? Like let's go ahead and do this thing. When did that come?
I feel like going into halftime when we were up at halftime or the halftime speech, the halftime talk that our coach gave to us, and just knowing we're up ahead. When you go into halftime and you got the lead on a team like that, from there it's just like we're there. Well, what is stopping us now? So our coach gave us a good halftime speech, and we came back, we strapped our helmets, and we was like, let's go. We got them. We got our foot on their necks. Let's go. So after halftime, we was like, yeah, we got this game in the bag. We just got to keep doing the right things and eliminate all the little mistakes, and we got this game in our hands. So
that's awesome. I'm getting chills thinking about it because I know that feeling. I've been there. I know what it feels like when you go into halftime and it's like, we got them right where
we got them. Exactly.
Bro, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm getting chilled. I'm getting chill bumps right now. It's a real feeling knowing, because like I said, when we played against Michigan, nobody gave us a shot. And then
exactly.
When we go into halftime, it's like, hey, they're going to give us the best shot.
We're here. Yeah.
If we can withstand that best shot, we got it.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Anyway, Dominic, go ahead. I can keep doing this all day. Go ahead.
I know. So Artie's got a great question. Actually, I just seen this not long before we went on the show, so I didn't even have this one written down. So I'm going to thank Artie for this one. But he says, "Are you excited about the new running back coach, Texas State legend Barrick Neely, joining the staff as it was just announced today?"
Oh yes, I'm very excited and very thrilled, and I had a good relationship with Eric Steven. He was a good guy. Props to Eric Steven. But football is a business, and that's just not how life goes. But other than that, Coach Barrick Neely, man, he's a good guy. He's been hitting me up as soon as they announced that. As soon as they told me that, I have a really good relationship with him so far. He's a really good guy. I've seen his history, him playing at Texas State, him playing football, him doing the things that we're doing at college athlete plays a big part, and I really take big pride on that. And I'm just real excited for him. He's a good guy, a big family guy, and I'm just excited to start a journey with that guy. Yes, sir.
Nice, absolutely. So you just had a video come out to announce officially that you're returning, which we all love to see. Tell me how much of that was your idea to make it sound like you might be leaving, because I feel like you guys did that on purpose in that video.
Yeah, I had to do that on purpose. I just thought that would be a good idea, just to make people watch the whole video and know how much I cherish Texas State, and just let people know how much I care about Texas State and in the San Marcos community. So it was just my idea. It was definitely my idea to do that part.
Nice. Well, yeah, it was very well done, and you had us all worried because I know you were on the Golden Boot podcast earlier, and I was like, it kind of sounds like he's coming back. He sounds real excited. He ain't sound like I'm being secretive about like maybe leaving and all this. So I had a good feeling about it, but then I see this video and I'm like, oh man, maybe something happened,
Yeah.
But I guess TJ, you got anything else? Because I got one final question, unless you got something to go ahead with, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to hit you with listen, the question that everybody wants to know, and really, and I know you got to be political. You got to, all these guys are good, and listen, having played receiver, a little bit of running back in college, I get it. I understand that you want to give props to your contemporaries and those kinds of things. But tell me, man, who's the best running back in the country?
Ishmael Mahdi by far.
Yeah, that's what.
Ishmael Mahdi by far.
Yeah, and what
mean, it proves it. Who's the only All-American in that conference?
Yeah, you know, what sets you apart?
Just everything. Just me as an individual. As a football goes a long way, but me as an individual, me as a human being, and obviously the stuff that I've been through, and I feel like I got more heart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just more heart and just that. You know.
What mindset?
I'll add something. Oh, go ahead, TJ.
No, I was just curious to say, what mindset do you click into? And I know you know, I don't want to keep you too long, but when it's go mode, when it's game time mode, because I know that running back position is different, right? You got to, you know, blocking, you know, pass plays, pick up blitzes, those kinds of things. You got to go to a different mode, right? I play slot receiver, so it's very similar in terms of blocking for the run, those kinds of things. What mode do you go into? What mindset do you get into? Because I know it's different than, you know, Ishmael walking down the street, than Ishmael lined up beside TJ Finley ready to do this thing. So what do you go into to get yourself ready to say, all right, it's time to be the best All-American running back in this conference?
Just my family. Got to take care of my family. You know, I got people that I got to take care of, and I got 6 brothers, 2 sisters that are dependent on me. You know, so I don't play about that, and I go out there and I know what I'm doing this for, and I know my why.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I love to hear that.
I like to say the thing that sets you apart too is like, a lot of times you're seeing like guys that don't touch the field as much, or like a wide receiver returning the ball. You're still back there as a returner, as a running back, which is not, I feel like is not common at all anymore. So you're like the all-purpose back as well as the All-American running back, all in one thing. I mean, dude, the sky's the limit from what I'm seeing from you. So phenomenal job.
Scouts,
yes, sir. Thank y'all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Already wanted to say he's waited over a decade for this season. Literally, thank you to you and this Texas State team. So yeah, I know he's pumped for everything he got to experience this year. He said he was at the bowl game live, so I'm sure that was a big thing for him.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. You guys are touching a lot of people down there in Texas, man. Like I said, from an App State fan, somebody who we just joined the conference a couple years back. I guess now it's been almost a decade at this point.
Yeah, it's getting close.
You know, it seems like a couple years ago. But man, you guys are touching a lot of people. Your program is turning around, man. It's awesome to see the progress of y'all, and not just you guys. Our conference as a whole is making. I know that you can, again, obviously you want to win the conference and you're part of the team. But speak to real quickly the growth of this conference and what that means for competition, and why, to people that are watching our podcast, why should their sons come here and play football?
This is a great it's a lot of competition in this conference. I feel like there's SEC, there's Pac-12, but this conference is a lot of players with grit, a lot of players with determination in this conference, man. My first year here, man, it's just playing against Troy, playing against, like you said, those type of team, Coastal Carolina, man. Everybody on the field has grit. I feel like everybody has a reason to step on that field. So, and just playing, and after the game, talking to those players, man. It's just a great conference from. Just all around, just a great conference.
That's awesome. Happy to hear it.
Yeah. So, one last thing, and I just want you to, whatever you want to say about this, but you came in when Texas State was still kind of down a little bit from the previous year, but there were high expectations. There were a lot of unknowns coming into this with the roster flip and the new head coach. You were new to the team. TJ Finley was new to the team. Can you explain like where you thought this team in the fan base? I know you guys as a team believed in yourself and you got yourselves into this situation, but can you explain like what the feeling is around campus and with the students from like the start of the season till now? Like does it just feel totally different? Like you guys are like a football school tried and true now?
Yeah, totally feel a lot different. We got a lot of support, like especially when we go out in public and people know who we are and stuff like that. Because when we first got here, people didn't really care. Like you said, people didn't really care about the football team. Now, when we go out to public and stuff, people are, telling us congratulations and stuff like that. It feels totally different. It really does.
Awesome, man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, Artie Cat saying Sunbelt #1. The guy with Captain America is his little
Sunbelt's rowdy.
Yeah, Sunbelt is rowdy.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to stay that way, and you're a big part of that equation, Marty. So, man, we really appreciate you coming on, especially with you know, having to get somewhere tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry about the mix-up with the time,
we're happy. We're happy. We're gonna, as an App State fan, I'm happy that you're gonna be back. That's for sure. We need the competition. We want to see good running backs in this conference. I know, you, Ali, there's a bunch of you guys that are in this conference, man, that really I know we got Frank Gore Jr., who's in the conference as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and that's part of the reason why I asked you, where do you rank yourself against these guys? And I'm happy to, obviously I want you to say number one. Having been part of this and played, I'm always going to say I'm the best slot receiver to ever live, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But that said, it's nice to see it and refreshing to see guys who enjoy football the way that you do, can see the hole, hit the hole, and also pass block the way that you pass block. I've watched you from the beginning of the season all the way till now, and I've got nothing but respect and admiration for what you do for that team, and impressed with you as a young man. And I wish you the best moving forward.
Thank you, TJ. Thank you.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for coming on. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? If TJ Finley's coming back, something like that? No, I'm just kidding.
We're trying to get some tea, bro.
Yeah.
Go Cats. Yeah. Go Cats.
Appreciate you.
We appreciate
Thanks
it very
for having
much,
me, guys.
Thank you for jumping on.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a good rest of y'all night.
Yes, sir. You too.
See y'all. Thank y'all.
Awesome kid.
Dude, I knew when I saw him, full credit to the Golden Boot podcast, who is also, again, part of the Dogs Media Network, who is behind the scenes of all of this, for getting him on initially. I would have never thought, it's hard these days to know some guys have to go through agents just to talk to them.
Yeah, just to have a conversation with us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but there was somebody in the conference that we did reach out to much before the season, before TJ was even officially a part of the show, that we were trying to get on one of the main podcasts as well. That was one of the ones where you had to go through like some other person to contact. We never even got a response.
Yeah, so that happened with me with a guy at App. One of the guys, and I'm not going to say any names, but
right,
just like, bro, just a 10-minute conversation, it's not going to hurt anybody. But anyway, I get it. I understand.
Yeah, I knew we had to get that jab in about TJ Finley in at the end, but I did not expect him to answer. And I did tell him we wouldn't be like hitting him with the hard-hitting questions. That's why I was trying to laugh as soon as I said that question. I didn't want him to seriously be like,
yeah, no. You don't want
to, But also following it up, Artie's pumped right now. I'm pumped, dude. I'm kind of like just on a high right now after having him on because we haven't really had we've had past guests that played the game before, like Armonte and Ricky.
But it's different having a player now in the game talk to us about his team, what he thinks, and I think obviously as we do more of this, that'll come, right? And as we get bigger in the community and people start growing and seeing our podcast, obviously that's going to come. And thank you to all you guys who watch. We certainly appreciate it, and with the fanfare and the way this is growing, I think we'll start to get more people who appreciate what we do and what we talk about, and that'll in turn lead to more players wanting to come on and chat with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we appreciate, it was cool. Like we said, Artie's been like the guy who's been following us from the start this season, been here just about every single week commenting, and we got to kind of surprise him here with this.
Happy about that. Happy for you, Andy.
Yeah, it's just a cool experience overall. To get through that. Just pretty cool. And again, I wanted to reiterate this. Captain America says he's coming for that #1 fan status. So
come on with it.
Hey, we can have numerous #1 fans, guys. I'll make the license plate and I'll send it out to you. So oh man.
There's a guy I know that does plaques and cornhole boards. We'll buy you some and send it your way.
Yeah. We got to get the branding up. We got to get our sponsor dollars up, and we'll start rewarding those who've been here from the start. So I'm going to skip through the rest of this. I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. I guess we'll cut one more thing real quick. Georgia State beating the hell out of Utah State was phenomenal.
Granger, that was awesome. I was happy about that.
Yeah, and so that one jumped way up because
Yeah.
I didn't fully expect it to be much of a game that was all that exciting. And again, I guess it kind of wasn't, but it was fun for us Sunbelt fans who had struggled through a lot of losses that maybe shouldn't have come. But anyway, that kind of rounds that out. I think we touched on all the others. Maybe Ohio beating Georgia Southern. I didn't think it was going to be very good. I had it at 10 to start with. I put it at 12 because it wasn't even entertaining, honestly.
Right.
So, yeah, unfortunate end there. Captain America says deal on the maybe the license plates. I'll have to get to work on that. Sunbelt t-shirts, dude. You two are getting stuff. Again, Neil, who sometimes Neil can't make it live, and he'll even come back and comment and say, you could tell he watched the whole show because there'll be something random in the middle of the show he'll comment on. Oh, right. I saw, so a shout out to Neil too. If he's like watching this tomorrow and he plays it back or something. But yeah, real quick, Sunbelt Bowl records compared to some of these other conferences, 5-7. With TJ, we were realistic though. Right before these games started, we said winning about half would probably be pretty realistic, right? Is that what we kind of agreed upon?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I picked us to go slightly above 500, but I'm not mad about this.
Yeah, I'm not that upset about it, except for the fact that we wanted to put that staple, I feel like, right? Like we had 12 teams in. We weren't going to win them all. There was no way that was going to happen. But, I mean, if we won 8, that'd be a selling point. Like, the best. Here's our staple.
I was truly disappointed in Louisiana, Troy, and
ODU.
And ODU. Those were the 3 teams that I was genuinely disappointed in, and that would have been our 8 wins. But those were the 3 teams that I was genuinely, like, inside of my body, like, come on, guys. You're better than that.
Yeah. And if you think, because you touched on this too, Marshall was an outside 9-win chance. They didn't play Ali at all in that second half, but they were looking pretty good in that first half.
I still don't know what happened.
I can only hope there was a little tweak and he or they said, hey, just like
shut it down. Yeah.
I don't know, for your future. I don't know. I don't like it, but it is what it is. I mean, that was a tough matchup. That was a toss-up for me. Actually, I don't think it was even a toss-up. I'm pretty sure I was favoring UTSA all the way in that one.
Because of their quarterback and his ability to run,
Yeah, and then he didn't even play.
Right.
But the line started to move like 2 hours before the game, and everyone's starting to wonder, oh, is he not playing? And that's, of course, why the line was moving. Again, Vegas gets this stuff before. I mean, we cover the conference, and I know other people that cover the conference, and all of us seem to be surprised by that, right? Because, what's happening here? I mean, I was talking to the Thundercast guys and saying, like, hey, what are you hearing on this? Because the line's moving, and it doesn't make sense because, like, it's not anything on y'all side happening or not happening here. But, yeah, what do we got? Oh, so the last thing we'll close out with, just something – well, simple for us, not simple for Corey St. Ewert. I hope I'm not butchering his last name. I don't know if he'll watch. Maybe we'll put a clip of this up on Twitter because this guy's been lighting up Twitter. So for those of you that don't know, Louisiana has been, the Raging Cajuns for a while, and they had like a little pepper that was their mascot. But I don't know if they ever had like a real mascot like uniform for it or something. Mm-hmm. And then other times they just haven't had anything. And now they're just kind of fallen off the wayside, like no mascot. They don't even really show one. They've just gone to the Raging Cajuns print for their logo. So this guy said, plaster this stuff all over. We're going to try and sell the university on a mascot. And they've nicknamed this guy Albino, but not spelled it the same way you and I would spell albino because, of course, they're in Louisiana. So it's spelled like the EU.
I was going to say there's an X on the end, I'm sure.
Yeah, EUAX or however you spell that. Anyway, if you want, I've got his name on all these pictures. There's a couple slides here. In fact, we just go through them. But he's nicknamed this guy Albino. I think it looks awesome. It's a white alligator on purpose. Yeah, so he's staying with the school colors. It's not a green gator like Florida. And he's explained why this makes sense. And I'll go through a couple of the other ones of iterations that he's had for this. I like that one in the middle a lot too. I don't really know why, but I like that one.
It's a sophisticated albino alligator. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, like it kind of looks like a little bit like a frat guy alligator, but for some reason I still kind of like it, even though I'm not a big like frat guy. Yeah, so he's put a ton of work into this with numerous iterations. I think there's one more here. Yeah, so all of these are things. Again, that's his name. Search him on Twitter. Give him a follow. He's a graphic designer as well, but he's also a Louisiana grad. Again, he's touching on the fact that the state of Louisiana has more gators per capita than the state of Florida. So when people want to come and question,
yeah, that's obvious. I didn't know.
Yeah, I would think it is
that was
too, but
like a fun fact.
I guess I was surprised solely for the fact of like Louisiana probably not having as much. I guess I didn't really break it down, but Florida seems to be larger, right? Like, so you think maybe there's a chance, but if you think
but you
about
gotta
it,
think too. When you think alligators in Florida, you think North Florida, not
that plus Florida is a peninsula, right? Because it's got all that, and there's no real gators in the ocean. I mean, I think they can survive in there for a little bit, but
yeah,
they don't
there's some salt water
live in there.
Yeah.
So, like, when you take that aspect out of your mind, like you said, it's North Florida, it's in the middle of Florida. You know, it's not everywhere. So that shows maybe why it can be. But I'd say these two are the top like ones that I think.
100%. I'm going with my guy on the right. Just the black and red, the black background with the red, and I mean the gator skin. I like that one a little bit better. You could go wrong with either, because UL on the sweatshirt, but I think there's too many ULs. And I also think you don't need to spell out Louisiana.
Yeah, I did question. I kept that one mainly, and I put that one, actually, I replaced the Raging Cajun logo because this guy, Corey, has said, like, put this everywhere. Like, it's free use, essentially, because he wants it out there. He wants the university to be forced to, even if they don't go with this design, they're going to be forced to make a decision on a mascot and go some kind of direction after seeing this and hopefully having a push. So I'm trying to, I'm trying to help him out because I think I commented on a couple things. I reposted a couple things because I said, even as a fan that's not of this team, I'm buying gear with this thing on it. Like it's just that cool. Artie says it's called Lafayette. Yeah, they don't like that much, but they want to be known as Louisiana, and you can tell the West loves their rivalries because
absolutely.
And for those that don't remember, he is a Troy fan himself. In fact, I don't know if I put it on the screen, but he wanted Marty to come to Troy, but I think he's committed to Texas State at this point. And Artie says I'll call him Roadkill.
Better watch your tires, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. This was a question that I had too, because I know what Louisiana is trying to do with the hand signature with the U and the L, but you're right. It also means I love you. So that's
here's the thing though. It could mean I love you, UL.
True. You could read into it.
You could spin that to however you want to spin it.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. Artie saying it's a pretty cool logo for a swamp-infested backwater. Call the next Florida mascot Florida Man. Long mullet, Jack 4x4, T-shirt with no sleeves.
I would rather not, Artie. I would rather not. Let's not and say we did.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but it would fit the mold down there in Florida pretty good.
That is a fact.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, but man, I guess I knew after Marty I didn't want to keep this thing rolling along too much because we're going to lose steam after an awesome moment, So
I'm on Jack Mountain Dew now.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I guess I just kind of wanted to end it with these cool graphics. And again, thanks to Marty for coming on the show. TJ, you got any last thoughts for the people before we get out of here today?
No, man. I think 5-7 in the conference, I think, is pretty good. I mean, again, as good as you can imagine. There's a lot of teams that we had that flamed out towards the end of the year. And that's a bit discouraging, especially how teams like Georgia State, which they ended up winning their bowl game, but teams like Georgia State started and ended up Georgia Southern, Marshall, those kind. It's disappointing, but overall, 5-7 can't be mad about it. So there's always next year.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. When you really broke it down and say these teams aren't the same as a regular season, and half of our teams that qualified were like 6-6. What do you really expect out of a 500 team?
Right.
Only thing you could hope was that the conference was battle tested enough to win a few of those matchups get over the hump and make it look like, hey, they were only 6-6 here. But when they played a team from this conference, they beat them.
Right.
Again, it happened 5 times. It didn't happen 8 or 9 like we had hoped. But again, I think it's still respectable in the end. I think they finished strong, and no one can say the Sun Belt's not number one. You could say others. You could argue that somebody still is up there, but you can't say that the Sun Belt's not up there. He put 12 teams into the bowls, and that's by the most by any conference, Power 5 or otherwise. So yeah, I think we're coming back strong. We got players like Mahdi returning next year. I think it's going to be another great ride for Sun Belt fans across the board. Only 2 teams only 2 teams are really going to have to work hard to get back into the bowl. That's going to be Monroe, who's got a new head coach to try and do it, and probably a really rebuilt and retooled Southern Miss team. I know they're doing a lot of coaching changes down there in order to kind of retool how that's happening. But, they've got some players coming in. Again, we're thinking about doing another episode next week, talking on some of the transfer and signing day class. So we'll try and put some of that together for you guys. Captain America, even as a Troy fan, is saying Lafayette is a great town, or a fun town with great fans, which, again, I've got to get TJ down there with me the next time I go down. But I do agree with that. I've never had even when App State got blown out in the one game I went down there, still a phenomenal time, even with the blowout loss. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, great people. Their fans gave us boudin for the ride home. TJ, you know what a boudin ball is?
I do, and I've never had one, and I want it.
Okay, so what's funny is I was supposed to go to a restaurant down there and get some, right, like the local stuff. Right. But because of when we had to leave the next day, I couldn't get there. So I never tried one down there either. And unfortunately, I tried like a frozen version from Harris Teeter. Again, no free ads. I had to try. I had to say I had to experience it. I had to have an idea what it was. I'd say the frozen version I know is not touching the local version. And I still thought the frozen version was good. So I can only imagine what it's like when you're actually down there and they make it for you. It's boudin. Yeah, see, this is what I got to.
I knew you were saying it wrong, but I wasn't going to correct you in front of like live audience because I didn't want to do that. But I knew you were saying it wrong. I got a lot of cousins from Mobile and from Louisiana.
Well, you can. Hey,
my first cousin, one of my first cousins is from Abbeville. Okay,
well, we're getting close enough now, TJ. You can just be like, hey, man, that ain't it. That ain't it. Artie's leaving us with the Bobcat Stadium will never run out of lukewarm beverages during your visit. Yeah, we got to get down there to that one. Those are 2 West Coast or West team venues I really want to get to. Again, Lafayette for a second or third time, actually, and Texas State for the first time. That one's just a hard trip for me. That's easily the furthest in the conference. So, yeah. Yeah, and Artie's saying he remembers the crazy Louisiana chef on PBS as a kid. Yep, I remember. It was a Muppet, right? Wasn't he a Muppet?
I don't know. I don't remember.
The one that you can't understand anything he says with the chef hat and you can't even see his eyes or something.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, now we're that's guaranteed. Yeah, there's that too. But yeah, now we're really losing it. But getting hungry talking about food. But yeah, TJ. Again, great episode. I'm glad Mahdi got to come on. We got to surprise to Artie to have Mahdi on the broadcast tonight, and I'm glad to have him. I'm glad it worked out because I was getting concerned there. I kept checking the phone and like, I got a message saying he's not going to make it.
Yeah.
So glad he ended up showing up and coming on for you guys mainly, but also for TJ and I personally. I know we were very excited.
Fun. I enjoyed it. He's a good kid.
When we had the opportunity to talk to him, but we're about to run into 2 hours here, so we're gonna cut it off, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and we will see you guys all next week.
Sunbelt Syndicate.